I got to be honest with you, that absolutely positively sucked. A lifeless, gutless offensive performance over the course of 11 innings. Christopher Sanchez absolutely dialed in from the first pitch until his final pitch. Credit to Jesus Luzardo for showing up on a short rest and pitching on his bullpen day a couple innings out of the pen, being that dog that they've asked him to be all season long. And the starting pitching was excellent, but the offense was non-existent. It did not show up. The Phillies today, through 11 full innings, were 4 for 37. We're 1 for 7 with runners in scoring position. And over the final 4 innings of the game, did not score a run off of Roki Sasaki or off of Alex Vesia. The Phillies lose game 4 of the NLDS 2-1. And we have plenty of time to talk about the final play. Orion Kettering with a miscue on the field that ends up being the winning run. We'll have plenty of time to talk about this. But this game starts and ends and is complete or incomplete because of the offense tonight. Lackluster is being nice. Lifeless might be being nice. The Phillies did not show up tonight offensively. You have to give credit where it's due. Tyler Glasnow was excellent tonight, as was Roki Sasaki out of the bullpen for the Dodgers as well. But this offense refused to show life, swung through or fouled back far too many pitches in the zone, and then chased when they weren't supposed to chase. And the Phillies season comes to an end in one of the most anemic fashions that we could possibly see as the Dodgers move on to the NLCS. And for the second year in a row, the Phillies season ends in 4 games in the NLDS. Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Phillies post-game show brought to you by our friends over at Bet365 and TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Thanks so much for hanging out with us and commiserating with us tonight. Tyler Zulli, Rich Hoffman, Pat Egan, Andrew Frazier is producing today's show. We are very much appreciative of you being here today. Whether you'd like to scream and yell and curse out the TV, you would like to talk about a lifeless offensive performance, or the fact that Orion Kettering did not know where to go with the baseball in the most demanding of times. We'll talk all about it in the next hour or so. And guys, I got to be honest with you. I used a lot of adjectives there. Gutless, lifeless. Feels like it was pointless at times. This one was the worst of the 3 losses to me, not particularly close. And I think at this point, I question, outside of what Christopher Sanchez did all night long, what Jesus Luzardo did out of the bullpen, I question where this team decided it was going, because it clearly was not to Game 5 of the NLDS tonight.
Look, the Orion Kettering play, that is going down in Philadelphia sports history. It's Mitch Williams with Joe Carter. I don't even know. I don't have anything else, but yeah, I mean, that's one of the most infamous images that we will ever see. The guy who just go to first, like literally JT is pointing to first. You will get Andy Pajes with a decent throw. And he just panicked. He just got shook and he went home, did not realize the situation. But I agree with what you said, man. Orion Kettering should not have been in this game. They scored 1 run in 11 innings. Their top 3 hitters went 1 for 15, or 1 for 14, sorry, with a walk. In 3 of these 4 games, their top 3 hitters, that's Trey Turner, Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper, they went 3 for 35 in 3 of those games. You can't win. And it just felt like the Phillies were never going to score. Their at-bats, they were chasing a ton today. They were missing hittable pitches. I feel like I guess it was like the 8th inning when Emmett Sheehan was in. Trey Turner had a very hittable pitch at the beginning of that at-bat to make it 2-0. It's ironic, by the way, that Nick Castellanos is the only guy who knocks a run in today. To me, yeah, the Orion Kettering play, that's something I will never forget. That was the most excruciating way to end a game. But that whole game was excruciating, watching these guys try to score. Credit to the Dodgers. I mean, that's just an amazing pitching staff. But the Phillies have an amazing pitching staff, too. They embarrassed Shohei Ohtani at the plate the entire series. And if the Phillies' top guys were just a little bit better than that, the Phillies easily could have won this series. But they weren't. They were not. And that is really tough to take because it's just your top guys were just not good enough.
Yeah, I don't really know where to start. I'm dead inside because in one hand, I'm surprised. On the other hand, I'm not. You know, I mean, I was waiting for it to happen. I mean, I was sitting next to Andrew, our producer, and every inning, I'm like, I just don't feel good because I'm waiting for the Francisco Lindor grand slam moment. Never did I expect it to be that. Never did I expect it to be Orion Kettering literally forgetting a play that little leaguers know. But you're right. He never should have been in that situation. This team was incredibly poorly coached, incredibly poorly managed from the top down. They did not get clutch hits from their stars when they needed it. I mean, they got it in game 3, they got it when they needed it. But in this particular instance, they didn't. It seemed like after Glasnow got out, there was at least, one pitch in at bat where we all just sat there and went like, that's it. That's the pitch where you hammer. They didn't do it. They couldn't locate Glasnow's curveball at all.
Those Brandon Marsh at bats. I mean, he just
it's tough when you use your 5-hole. I mean, that's another thing. Like you asked about it before the game about do you switch? You take a guy who's your 8 and 9-hole hitter for most of the season. You slide him into the 5-hole. The best at bats that we had were Harrison Bader gave them the best at bat in the 11th inning. It took 11 innings to get an at bat where we went like, oh, okay. And unfortunately, at that point, you didn't need you needed a hit. It wasn't a situation of, oh, okay, hey, drive the pitch count up, get in the ball. It was too late for that. You needed a base hit. You had Bryce Harper at second base. He didn't get it. He put together a great at bat. But he was basically the only one that put together a great at bat. I mean, Alec Boehm was decent, I guess. He had some good drives with the ball, but there's not a lot of good you can take out of it that isn't from the pitching standpoint. The pitcher showed up.
Starting pitching.
Unbelievable
job.
You had 4, and let's. I think you can lump Ranger and Nola together in game 3.
Correct.
So you get 6 1/3 from Sanchez tonight. He gives up just the 5 hits. He really keeps them off balance all night long. He gives up just the 1 earned run. So 6 1/3 and 1 earned run, 5 2/3, 2 earned runs. So Christopher Sanchez in his 2 starts in this series goes 12 innings pitched, gives up 3 earned runs. Jesus Luzardo in game 2 goes 6 innings pitched and gives up the 2 earned runs. So you're talking about 19 innings pitched between those 2 guys over 3 starts, and it's 5 earned runs. Nola and Ranger, another 7 innings of 1 earned run combined between the 2. You lost 3 out of 4 games where your starting rotation was excellent. This was an exceptionally well-pitched series on both sides from the starters and the bulk unit from the Phillies in game 3. Shohei Ohtani was excellent. Glasnow was excellent tonight. Yamamoto might have been the worst of the quote-unquote starters in game 3.
Yeah.
And in game 2, Snell was dominant as well. This was an exceptionally well-pitched series. And the thing is, even though I know the Phillies starting pitching matched and at times surpassed the Dodgers starting pitching, you could say, well, it really was on the thinnest of margins. It was a 4-3 win, it was a 5-3 win, and it was 2-1 win. And it sure as hell did not feel like the thinnest of margins. It felt to me like in those 3 games, for the most part, even when the Phillies starting pitching was really, really good, there was way too many times that the offense came up flat, and it felt like the Dodgers were continually one swing away, 1 inning away from changing the outcome of the game. And when they needed to, they did it. They did it in game 2. They did it in game 4. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you the Dodgers offense was particularly good this series. It really wasn't that great because the Phillies pitching was very, very good. But when you think about 3 games that were decided by 2 runs or less, and 2 of them being 1-run games, it should have felt like a much more competitive series. And this sure did not feel like a competitive series for most of it.
That's a good way to put it. It didn't feel like a competitive series, but it was a competitive series. It really was. And by the way, this is all going to feel worse when the Dodgers win the World Series in a couple weeks. Yep. And they beat the hell out of the next 2 teams that they play. Yeah, I mean, Tyler, I think that boils down to that the Dodgers had guys who had better at bats. Last night, not included.
Sure, last night
Phillies sort of dominated them last night. But the Dodgers had better at bats even tonight. Like Kike Hernandez would have been. Would you have hit him 5th in the Phillies lineup just with the at bats that he was having?
I know I would have hit Tommy Edman 5th. I know I would have hit Tommy Edman.
Good at bats from him. Good at bats from Alex Call. Although I got to say, Alex Call. He got struck out by Christopher Sanchez in the 7th inning. And yeah, again, you talk about it, how it's on the thinnest of margins. Maybe the Phillies get out of that inning. Duran gets 1 out, but then the decision to walk Shohei, I don't know, guys. It's just a lot of stuff going on. I guess we can get to that in maybe the next segment, but I just felt like the Phillies, they just did not have good at bats the entire series. Now, there are a couple guys. I thought Alec Bohm had pretty good at bats in this series. I thought JT Realmuto had some really good at bats in this series, but the rest of the lineup just didn't get it done. And it's like, look, their starting pitching is absolutely incredible, but the Phillies looked incredibly overmatched.
So for as well as the Phillies pitched Shohei Ohtani for a majority of the series, he was uncomfortable. And the going theory about getting after Ohtani, the Phillies have done it now for 2 seasons, mostly regular season, of course, but in the postseason, this 4-game set. If you are a lefty starter, whatever pitch, whatever fastball variation you have that moves right to left, whether it's a 2-seam or a sinker, you're going to run that thing on his hands, you're going to run it off of his back foot, and you are going to make him uncomfortable. And until he shows you, he's going to lay off of them and try to stop spinning on them and, take it into right field, try to pull it down the line. That's where you're going to live. And then when you get ahead, that's where you can go with the changeup down and away. You can go with the slider down and away. You can go with the breaking stuff down and away. For as well as they pitched Shohei Ohtani, the inverse when it comes to the at-bats from Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber specifically. Bryce Harper looked like he was trying to pull every single pitch tonight into the right field bleachers. There were 3 pitches specifically that were a 1.5 foot outside. 2 from Roki Sasaki in the at-bat that he faced him with the splitter. The splitter was sick tonight. It was filthy. It was dancing. No question about it. But Bryce Harper made that at-bat uncompetitive, and he made a lot of at-bats uncompetitive in this postseason. And we talked about it in Game 1 and in Game 2, and they did it a little bit in Game 3. They really came to life with the 7 for 13, and they did it again in Game 4, where those 2 guys specifically really looked uncomfortable. And I think in Bryce Harper's case specifically, he put himself in a lot of bad positions by swinging at a lot of by trying to pull a lot of stuff down and away.
Yeah, he wasn't good enough. And, the Phillies broadcast during the regular season will tell you when Bryce is going well, he's taking the ball to the opposite field. And to your point, he was trying to pull everything. He wasn't having competitive at bats. He was flailing. And you needed him. You needed him in today. You needed him in the entire series, and you really didn't get it sans Game 3. And it ended up costing them. I mean, they came up clutches at certain times. Look, he did work a walk against Vezia and ended up getting on second base and had a chance right there to score, I guess, with a base hit. But other than that, like, his at-bats weren't good. And I'm not going to be one of those guys of like, release him, trade him. He's not good enough. He's cooked. Of course. No, because that'll be, we all know Twitter. That's going to be the consensus on Twitter. It's going to be the overreaction. He's a hell of a baseball player, but for a guy that I've been guilty of saying like he lives up to the moment, and I know a lot of people have said like he's that guy that you want at the plate. He has not performed like that since the NLCS against the Dodgers, against the Diamondbacks.
Go through the at-bats tonight. First pitch curveball from Tyler Glasnow. He pulls it to Freddie Freeman. The pitch is a foot outside. 66.2 miles an hour off the bat. That's the start of the game, right?
How many times did he get himself out on the first pitch?
This series? Yeah. Quite a bit.
It's like, man, if you're going to be aggressive, you got to be aggressive for something in the zone, something you can drive. And he was just swinging at anything.
Did he hit anything in the air? Like, did he get any?
He hit a line out to Pages tonight. It was hit hard. It was 102, but it was.
Because it seems like everything was like either a strikeout or, a ground ball to Freddie Freeman.
Yeah. So then that second at bat was the one to Pages. The third one, as you bring up, Pat, ground ball to Freddie Freeman, 81 off the bat. He saw 3 pitches. The third pitch was up in the zone, but guess where it was, guys? On the outer edge. Tried to pull it, and that's what happens when you end up going, trying to pull an outside pitch. And then the final at bat against Sasaki, he went fastball in the zone to start the at bat. It was a really good pitch. It was spotted really nicely on the outer edge. Then he went splitter, pop up to Kike Hernandez at third. Ball got hit 91 miles an hour. It didn't matter. It was skied mile high. And here you go. I know that the viewers can't see it. Outside. The fastball was painted on the outer edge. The Dodgers, much like when we talked about the Phillies having a game plan for Ohtani and they executed it well, the Dodgers had a game plan for Bryce Harper, which was down and away and off the plate, especially with the righties on the mound.
You just can't live. Trey Turner and Bryce Harper, their OPS in this series started with a 5. Just can't win that way, man. And again, Dodgers pitching, Tyler Glasnow being their fourth starter is like crazy.
He was elite tonight
because he just completely embarrassed them. But I think what hurts to me, guys, is that as flawed as this lineup was, and that there's no guarantee that they would have carried it over into the next round and reset. But I think the Dodgers are going to carry it over. I think Ohtani's going to start hitting bombs in the next round. And I just wonder if the Phillies played the best team in the MLB and they played some coin flip games and they came up just short. And that, honestly, that will drive me crazy. Honestly, I'm kind of rooting for I would be rooting for the Brewers anyway, over the Dodgers. But I'm kind of rooting for it just so it doesn't drive me crazy because, is this the team? If this ends up being the de facto World Series and the Phillies lose because Harper and Turner just couldn't get on base and because Orion Kettering just panicked at the last minute. I mean, again, they weren't going to score a run. I say that, but Blake Trinan was coming in the next inning.
Yeah, you felt good.
He was coming in. They were out of their elite pitchers.
You as soon as we all saw Blake Trinan warming up, it was like, okay, if you can just get out of this inning, I think we all felt really, really good. They had gotten to him before, and well, pretty much everybody's gotten to him at this point. But yeah, it just seemed like in a series of constant mistakes by the Phillies, the Dodgers showed that they know how to win, and the Phillies don't. And that was the key. Like the Dodgers were cool, calm, collective. It didn't feel safe even when the Phillies had that 1-0 lead. The next inning, obviously the wheels kind of come off a little bit. The Dodgers end up tying it with that questionable decision to walk Ohtani. And just every time it went to extra innings, it was like the Dodgers seemed like no matter what, they had the momentum where the Phillies just, I don't know. Maybe it's just the Philadelphia fan in me, but I just kept waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Well, and I'm glad you bring up the decision to walk Ohtani. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about using Duran earlier in the game. We'll talk about a lot of different things, the Orion Kettering play. The reason that I wanted to start with the offense tonight is because that, to me, is the single greatest reason as to why not only did they only play 4 games, not only did they not advance out of the NLDS for the second consecutive year, it's the single greatest reason as to why this team in 3 games scored 7 runs. I think like we have plenty of time. We're going to complain about the play at the plate. We're going to complain about decision making. We've done it with Rob Thompson already in this series. But I think to me, the reason that we started with the offense tonight is because it is the most tangible, the most real thing that the Phillies did. That was the reason as to why not only did this game not get back to Citizens Bank Park tomorrow on Saturday, but the reason as to why they scored 7 runs in their 3 losses.
What a waste. I mean, the pitching was phenomenal. Jesus Luzardo, I know one of the killer plays of this game, though, is that he did not get Max Muncy out. Max Muncy hits the ball and the guy goes first to third. But Jesus Luzardo got the top of the order. He had that sweeper working. I'm sure he had no idea he was really going to pitch, but it got desperate. And Rob Thompson said, hey, Jesus, we're going to need you for
He was
a few
nasty
innings.
today.
He was nasty. And to waste his efforts, to waste Sanchi's efforts, to waste what Ranger and Nola did last night, I mean, it's unforgivable from this offense.
I mean, I would have thought going into this series that at some point we would have said the words, damn, I wish we had Wheeler. And at no point did you even think about Zach Wheeler.
Great point.
The only thing it does is allow you to set up like 4 true starters, but like the starting pitching and with Ranger attached,
it wasn't the problem.
Wasn't the issue, right?
It was solely on the offense not being able to get anything going. And I'm not even talking about getting anything going against the Dodgers starters. Like when the Dodgers did end up going to their bullpen, no matter who it was, they really didn't have any answers. They didn't have good at bats. They were flailing at everything. They just looked like a poorly coached team. That's the best way I can describe it.
And the Dodgers did exactly what they set out to do with their bullpen. Their goal from the beginning of this series was to limit the amount of innings that Sasaki, Glasnow out of the bullpen in game 1, Vesia, Banda, and Sheehan were going to throw. Those 5 guys were the 5 guys that the Dodgers wanted coming out of the bullpen. The moment they were going to have to turn to Clayton Kershaw like they did in game 3, they basically admitted defeat. The moment that they were going to have to turn to Blake Trinan like they did in game 2, they really ran the risk of losing game 2. Sasaki comes in and nails it down out of the pen. They really didn't want to have to use Sasaki if they didn't have to. Those guys, those 5 that we mentioned, Glasnow, like in game 1, knew he was going to start later, but the other 4 were Sheehan, Sasaki, Vesia, and Banda. Those were the guys that Dave Roberts was going to trust, and he got pretty much everything that he could have asked for from those 4 guys out of these 4 games. And the Phillies did nothing offensively to try to get into the Trinan innings, to try to get into. Now, we find out that Tanner Scott is injured, right? And he ends up getting removed from the roster, and Wroblewski comes in. But like before that, you were saying, get Tanner Scott on the mound, right? Obviously, he doesn't end up pitching. But you were trying to get to Trinan and those guys, and you really never did outside of game 2. And that was more of a head-scratching decision by Dave Roberts than it was a necessity for the Phillies.
No, Rich said it. I mean, the Phillies got themselves out more than anything by just swinging at bad pitches, and they would swing badly at a pitch that was out of the zone, and then they take a pitch that was right down the middle. I mean, how many times did that happen in this series where we're sitting there going like, either wow, you take that pitch, or on the flip side, you go, what, you're swinging at that? And it just seemed like that particular situation happened far too often. Yes, you have to give the Dodgers pitchers credit, no doubt, but the Phillies' approach for 3 out of the 4 games was way, way, way too free swinging.
2.16 ERA from Ranger, Luzardo, Sanchez, Nola, and who am I missing? Oh, just those guys. Yeah. Those out of the 4 starters. 6 earned runs over 25 innings. It's 2.16 ERA.
Phenomenal execution by those guys. What an unbelievable
ruined.
Did not take advantage of it. All right, let's pause on the other side. We will get into some of the decision making now that we've gotten the macro out of the way. We can start to talk about the micro, the play at the plate, the decision to use Kettering in that spot, the decision to go to Duran earlier. We can talk about all of it because we had to start with the offense. It's the PHLY Phillies postgame show. Pat Egan, Rich Hoffman, Tyler Zulli, Andrew Frazier producing today's show. We're brought to you by our friends over at TrueMark Financial and Bet365. We'll be right back after this.
And guys, if your home needs a little TLC or you're dreaming of that next big vacation, well, listen up. TrueMark Financial's HELOC Select just got even better. Rates just dropped, making it more affordable to put your home's equity to work. Guys, you might need money for anything. Do you need a new kitchen or big repairs around the house? Maybe you just want to knock out some of that persistent debt. Well, with HELOC Select, you can access your cash all at once or just when you need it. Total flexibility, just like a good game plan. Like the Phillies pitchers having a good game plan, not the hitters, not that type of game plan. So make it happen today and visit one of TrueMark's 24 branches or head to truemark.com/PHLY and get in the game today. Federally insured by NCUA and equal opportunity lender.
Well, it's very clear your team is ordinary, but the moment is never ordinary with our friends at Bet365. Find out why 90 million users worldwide have teamed up with Bet365 for live in-game betting. We checked the over-under in the 6th inning, Rich, or the 7th inning, and it had fallen to 3.5 live line. You could have gotten that and hit the under and still won with a 2-1 final. And of course, now use that promo code on the bottom of your screen, PHLY365, deposit $10, place a bet for $5, and you'll get $200 back instantly in bonus bets, whether your bet wins or loses. You can use that bonus bet money on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and so much more. You find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. You must be 21 and physically located in PA. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. Welcome back to the PHLY Phillies podcast. Tyler Zulli, Rich Hoffman, Pat Egan, Andrew Frazier. Got a couple of super chats that I want to hit to.
Shout out Mamad.
I want to say thank you to Mamad Rez. First of all, says, hope Kettering recovers from this nightmare. Hats off to all the Phillies pitchers who gave it their all, but once again, offense let us down.
Shout out to you, Mamad.
Mamad, you are correct. The offense was lifeless once again. The Kettering thing we're going to get into in a second. I think you do the human thing, right? And you say, hope he recovers and mentally bounces back.
No.
But then you do
no, not right now.
The baseball thing, which
maybe
is
tomorrow.
It's a horrible decision to make that throw. We'll get to that in just a second. Futz, our buddy Futz, thank you as well. That sucked, but I'm ending this season where I started it. Here's to the best Phillies season I've experienced. Thanks to the community at PHLY. Thanks for your time and energy. And bleep the Mets. Futz, you have been in the chat from day one. I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much for being a part
Shout out Futz.
of this show and all of our shows. We'll do all of the Grammy level curtain calls at the end of the show and say thank you to everybody. But let's get back to it at hand. Futz, appreciate you as always, my friend. Thank you for being here. And to everybody in the chat, thank you to all of our 430 people watching, whether you are a Phillies fan, a Dodgers fan. I saw a Braves fan was here. Not sure why, but thank you for being here. I appreciate you.
Sure.
We have a lot of time to get into the offseason stuff, right? The who's back, who's not, the managerial decisions, if the manager is back or not, if anybody on the coaching staff is back or not. But let's get into a little bit more about this game. Let's start with the decision in the 7th inning to go to Jhoan Duran. Jhoan Duran comes into this game after Christopher Sanchez tosses a really masterful 6 1/3. He gives up the 5 hits, just the 1 earned run, 5 strikeouts through 95 pitches was really, really, really good. So Jhoan Duran comes into this game in the 7th and walks Mookie Betts, walks Mookie Betts. But before that, the decision was set up to intentionally walk Shohei Ohtani to get to Mookie Betts. Now, the surface level understanding of that is you want righty-righty. Jhoan Duran versus Mookie Betts, righty-righty. A little bit of a tougher matchup on the most surface level imaginable. I got to be honest with you guys. I know Shohei Ohtani is the greatest player to ever walk the planet. I know Shohei Ohtani has the ability to run into one on any given moment in any given pitch. The Phillies had shown that they were doing a pretty darn good job of stymieing Shohei Ohtani all series long. If you want to argue righty-righty, I don't know if I can get to that point. If you want to argue force at any base, that one we can have the conversation on. But Shohei Ohtani being in that spot, it's a kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario, because if he turns on one and deposits it in right field and it's a 3-run shot, ball game's probably over anyway. But Mookie Betts makes you pay. Duran can't locate in that particular moment. He draws a walk, and that's how the Dodgers tie the game at 1. Before we get to Duran pitching in that spot, I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on intentionally walking Ohtani to get to Betts.
So, tough decision. Look, they completely owned Ohtani for most of the series at the plate, but a lot of that was their left-handed starting pitching,
Yes.
right? I mean, Aaron Nola getting him out with those 95-mile-an-hour fastballs, that felt good because it's like, this is a different level of pitching than he has faced for most of this series. And I thought, yeah, Tyler, you were calling it out as we were watching the stream. Just get those fastballs in on the hands, then go away with the breaking stuff. Like Luzardo was going away with the breaking stuff. Sanchez was as well. I mean, I think it was somebody absolutely was it Luzardo? Yeah, absolutely dotted a breaking ball low and away to Ohtani, who wasn't going to swing. I believe that was in the 10th inning, and it was just a perfect pitch, right? And it was I understand why he took it, but it also was a perfect pitch. So Duran, as good as he is throwing from the right side. So I think what I would have done is I would have told Duran, look, man, you got to just bury splitters. And if he gets himself out, that is sort of the game plan there. I was mad at Rob Thompson for a lot of decisions in this series. That one, I understand. I mean, I understand the counterpoint to it as well, but that's a tough spot to be in. But it is another example of like Rob Thompson, whether his decisions have logic, whether they're head scratching, or whether they're somewhere in between, where I think this one sort of falls, they just blow up in his face every single time. It's like, it's absolutely crazy. And obviously, Duran is just a little bit wild to Mookie Betts, and credit to Mookie Betts, man. He spit on like that first splitter that he spit on. Maybe he was taking all the way. It's a good pitch, man.
Jhoan Duran has 4 non-intentional walks since joining the Phillies. All 4 of them have come to Dodgers hitters. It's a patient team.
Love that.
You had to get after them early. You talk about burying the splitters. The way you do that, though, you got to throw strike 1. You get strike 1, now it sets up the tone for the rest of the at-bat.
But just the margins are so thin, man. It's
I hated it. I hated it in the moment. I hate it now because it didn't work out, obviously. I've never been, and I said in the pregame, I've never been big into like the lefty-lefty matchup. You've been owning Ohtani all series long. Mookie Betts has had much better at bats. Mookie Betts is he's a former MVP. He's probably going to the Hall of Fame, as is Ohtani, to his credit. But like, yes, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. But in that situation, go with the guy that looks absolutely lost and not against the guy that's put together much better at bats.
And I will add, MP brought it up in the chat, was like, you end up losing the wiggle room, right? Because yes, the force is not in place. You have to make the throw to first on a ground ball. But if he does walk Ohtani, then you still at least have some room to go. Now, then you have to go challenge Betts, and who knows what happens. It's hypothetical, right?
But yeah, to your point, like you make Ohtani beat you in that situation. As soon as he starts the at bat out, 1-0, we all didn't feel great about the situation because of the fact you have no wiggle room. I mean, Rich, to your point, like, in 2008, it seemed like Charlie Manuel pressed all the right moves. There wasn't a move that you can really look back on and go, oh yeah, you probably should have done this. Find me a good move. It seems like that Rob Thompson has made. I mean, it's harder to find good moves because you're right. It seems like every move that he has done in the past 3 playoff series at this point have been the wrong move. The key moment of the games that we look back on, you go like, yeah, I didn't really like it in the moment and it didn't work out. This isn't revisionist history. This is like in the moment stuff. We all look around going, what the hell is he doing?
And I will say this, like we talked about Mookie Betts. To me, the guy's a lock to be a Hall of Famer. He's one of the cleanest hitters I've seen against both sides. So I was looking at his splits, trying to see, is there a stark difference between a righty or a lefty specifically for Mookie Betts? Do you guys want to take a guess at what Mookie Betts hits against right-handed pitching in his career?
Oh, 280.
80?
290. Do you want to take a guess at what he hits against lefties in his career?
280.
293. I mean, you're talking about one of the most complete hitters in baseball now for basically over a decade.
But there's no way that Rob Thompson had those stats at the ready. Like you must have.
Yeah, I have an elite level premier subscription to Baseball Reference.
Yeah, there's no way that Rob Thompson had those anywhere available in that moment. Like you went to the dark web to find those stats. So to give Rob Thompson a little bit of credit, he probably didn't know that. Mm-hmm. How would he?
You guys have convinced me. Look, I think it's because Rob Thompson has made even more head-scratching decisions, but that was the wrong move. You got to pitch to Ohtani. And you got to at least tell him, like, hey, man, like, maybe don't throw him a cookie, maybe attack the edges and see if he gets himself out. But to just give up the base, to have no wiggle room against Mookie Betts, that's asking a lot, and it burned them.
So let's get to the next decision, which was having Joan Duran in the game in that spot in the first place. And this, I know, Pat, you and I,
ready to fight each other. Our shirts
we were contentious on this one, and I still love you. We're still friends.
No, we're not.
Okay, we're coworkers.
We're
coworkers who sometimes get to see each other, not so much anymore.
I don't have your name saved in my
because
phone.
We're not actually coworkers anymore. We're just strangers in the night, right? No,
acquaintances.
Anyway, you and I were pretty at odds on this during the moment.
Yeah,
and I subscribe to the Terry Francona 2016 Cleveland World Series run thought on these types of moments, where I have changed my outlook on high leverage because they have Duran, right? In the regular season, my thought had always been you don't have a true closer. I guess the closest you had to a true closer coming into this moment was Craig Kimbrell, he was the only one. Absolutely wasted by the time the second half rolled around.
Yep.
But even with Estevez, like that's probably more of a high leverage guy.
Well, they didn't use him like a closer.
Correct.
Like they would bring him in like the sixth inning.
They use Strom. So like my point being is,
he's only an all-star, by the way.
Up until this point, the Phillies have had really one closer in this postseason run, and it was a cooked Craig Kimbrell. Now you have an elite level closer that sets up structure in your bullpen during the regular season. The reason I would have brought Duran in this spot is because of that Terry Francona 2016 school of thought. Is the most important out, in my opinion, is the next one in that high leverage spot, right? Because if you don't, now granted, it comes up, he ends up giving up the run and they tie the game and they end up losing the game. But if you don't get those outs in that spot, those 2 outs, you may not get a chance to use Duran anyway. And he ends up sitting in the bullpen watching the Dodgers celebrate a 9-inning victory or a 10-inning victory, and you end up not using the clear-cut best pitcher you have in your bullpen. It didn't work because he walks the guy and he walks the run in, but I think in that spot, I am a big proponent of going to my best pitcher in the big moment because there is no tomorrow if you don't win this game.
Agree with you to a certain extent. I hated it. That's why we got into it. I don't like bringing in your closer in the 7th inning on the road. Despised it with an unhealthy passion, and I want to fight Rob Thompson about it. I especially don't like it with the fact of you brought a closer in with inherited runners. And we've talked a lot about, baseball players being creatures of habit and bringing in Kettering with inherited runners. He's not good at it. Bringing in Strom with inherited runners. Tanner Banks has been your inherited runners guy. You never bring him in with inherited runners in the playoffs. To bring in a closer with inherited runners, and then on top of it, and I know it worked out, but to pitch him another inning. I hated that as well. Like I bring him in the 9th inning. That's what you traded him for. Have faith in your guys that have gotten you to this point, because it's not a situation like the 2021 Phillies that had the worst bullpen that we've ever seen.
You saw Brandon Workman.
Yeah, you had legitimate relievers. I mean, I would have thrown Strom in. I would have had no problem throwing Strom. Or no, not Strom. I would have had no problem throwing Tanner Banks in there. David Roberts. Like, there are guys that I would have rather seen than Joan Duran. And I would have said this had it worked out. It obviously did not work out. But I think part of the reason why it didn't work out was because of what we talked about with the decision to walk Ohtani. You know, I can't blame Joan Duran on that decision. Should he have walked Mookie Betts? No, I'm sure he wasn't trying to.
Right.
But no, I hated it. I thought it was a panic move in a series, quite literally a series of panic moves by Rob Thompson. And I think it's going to end up costing him his job.
I think that is definitely true. I'd also like to say too, you know, don't want to complain too much about the officials, but like the umps, but like, I mean, that was a joke that Alex call strike 3 was not given to Chris Sanchez. It was a joke. Also, that Kyle Schwarber, that did change his at bat.
100%.
That ball's 6 feet above 7. Now, I will say the Dodgers, they got some bad calls throughout the series as well, but man, getting that call strikeout, that changes the inning, because Duran got, I forget who it was to bounce out. It might have been Páez to bounce out in that inning. I mean, that changes things, right? He would have been out of it if he got it. We might not have even seen Duran at that point as well, right? They might have
Probably
stuck
not.
with Sanchez, right? And
Yeah.
that was a killer. But, you know, I'm not going to linger on that too much, because
No, but it needs to get mentioned, though.
sure, it absolutely needs to get mentioned in such a close game. But, you know, I'm also just more mad at Kyle Schwarber and Trey Turner and Bryce Harper.
Yeah, it's low on the list, but it's on the list because
You gotta mention
it's
it.
so incredibly, unbelievably fixable. And we all know it's coming next year. But I mean, how many times have we all at one point said aloud, robot umps can't come fast enough? Like, we're expecting a guy who's probably in his 60s to stand behind 2 human beings and guess where a 98-mile-per-hour ball lands in an invisible box that he created. Like, that is really, really tough, and it's fixable. And it ended up, to your point, costing Kyle Schwarber in that at bat. He was checked out at that point. And the Christopher Sanchez strikeout, which should have been, I think that is one of the key moments of the game. That is not the, you know, Orion Kettering play, because that changed everything.
Yeah, and I think there's like some of those calls tonight. I said to you, Rich, like, you're going to turn, you're going to tap the helmet. It's going to take precisely 0.6 seconds to realize that's the wrong call, and it'll get flipped. Doesn't change the fact that you can't hit with runners in scoring position. You were 1 for 7 tonight, and other than game 3, you were like, I don't know, 5 for 40, it feels like. I'll go back and find the actual number, but it certainly feels like that. But in those moments, little things can add up. I think, again, it's reason 14 as to why they lost this series. But it's a reason.
But because your starting pitching was so good, you made it a reason.
Well, and I think not having Harrison Bader was the difference maker in this series as well.
Gigantic.
Well, it's the fact that you lost Harrison Bader, and your roster construction for the NLDS wasn't very good.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm going to make a reference, and Pat, you may be the only one to appreciate this.
Okay.
In the movie Miracle.
Love it.
I forget who it is. One of their players goes down.
Yeah, it's oh God, the defenseman.
Doesn't matter. One of their players goes down.
OC.
And Doc basically goes, you got to keep him off the roster. And coach says, nah, we're keeping him. We love this kid. And Doc goes, well, if you lose one more player, you're going to have a really hard time fielding an ice hockey team. That's kind of how it felt when Bader went down, which was now in hindsight, like, Tim Mesa did not appear in a game in this series.
No.
Walker Buehler did not appear in a game in this series.
But they're available for game 5, though.
Right. Buehler probably would have started if they'd have won this game.
You got to love their chances for game 5 if it happens.
Mesa didn't pitch. Buehler didn't pitch.
Taijuan Walker
pitched in mop-up duty and was quickly pulled when the situation presented itself.
Yeah.
You had 3 relievers who basically threw a combined 2/3 of an inning. And granted, I said this after game 3, after game 2, the likely player would have been Garrett Stubbs. Like, that doesn't instill a whole lot. There's not a lot of groundswell of confidence with it being Garrett Stubbs, but in a specific moment, maybe you can do a little bit more with pinch running and, you know, and things like that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think the roster construction, the Phillies lost in that regard. The Dodgers, they bet on not needing a bunch of bullpen pieces because they had a bunch of starters who were awesome and a bunch of converted starters who could go multiple innings and get the Phillies out. I would argue just infield defense, right? Trey Turner missing that throw in game 2, wrong side of the bag. That could have like literally been a 4-run play. The Dodgers executing on the play you guys are talking about with Castellanos, the wheel play, doing that perfectly. And then, the pitcher tonight, not knowing that first base was the force out.
All right, we're going to get to that on the other side. It's the PHLY Phillies post-game show. We got about 20 minutes left with you here this evening. We still have to talk about the play to end the game. I guess we'll kind of start to pivot to what comes next. We'll do a kind of briefly overview, but we'll pivot to what comes next. Big thank you to everybody in the chat for hanging out with us today. Hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't before you head out of this show tonight. It's the PHLY Phillies post-game show, the final post-game show of the season. We're brought to you by our friends over at Bet365 and TrueMark Financial, and we'll be right back after this.
And guys, let me tell you about branded bills. Whether you need snapbacks, truckers, fitteds, beanies, or t-shirts, Branded Bills has you covered with performance and style. And they have some great custom headwear that they made for us, green PHLY hats. And that's what Branded Bills does for you guys. If you're looking for some gear to make your personal brand stand apart from the crowd, Branded Bills has you covered with the best custom headwear. So start your order, and their dedicated team will help you create the exact custom apparel you need, whether it's like a work outing or a buddy's golf trip or whatever it is. Go to Branded Bills. They will make those hats look as good as possible. And Tyler just pulled it out. Branded Bills also has a partnership with Penn State as part of their campus collection. There it is. Oh, good cut by Andrew there. Look, they have the best Penn State hats. I know Penn State, that's not the greatest hat in the world to wear right now, but whatever college you went to, they have the campus collection. So head on over to brandedbills.com and use code BBPHLY for 15% off your first order.
Yeah, I'm not reading the first line of this because our favorite team didn't win, but there's always another way to win at BetPark's online casino app. It's the only casino app that I would recommend because you can win there, unlike your hometown baseball team that apparently comes up small in big situations. It's the only app that I would ever use where you can play games like Huff and More Puff and Fireblaze Sky Queen, BetPark's exclusives. I'm a big blackjack fan, but if you like roulette or craps or poker, baccarat, hot online slots, like Cash Eruption or 88 Fortunes, and you can play those hot online slots based on your favorite streaming shows like The Walking Dead or Squid Game, Peaky Blinders, whatever it may be. You can find them all at the BetParks Casino online app. New users right now can get up to $1,000 back in bonus casino money if you're down in the first 24 hours. Head on over to betparks.com and download the app today and enjoy all of the action and the excitement from the casino right at your fingertips. Must be 21 and in PA, New Jersey, Maryland, or Michigan for BetParks. You love to play. You play to win. You bet. BetParks. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Guys, we did a headline today for our watch along that was something along the lines of like ultimate sports night in Philly. This night has bleeped sucked.
Eagles are going to lose to the Giants.
Yeah, the Eagles are down 34-17.
Eagles stink, man.
The Eagles are losing 34-17. The Phillies lose 2-1. The Flyers, who probably were the most expected loss because of playing the defending Stanley Cup champs. I got to be honest with you. The Flyers played with the most heart tonight.
The Flyers had the best coaching performance tonight, and we barely watched that game, but I'm very confident.
It was 2-1. Vladar stopped 32 of 34.
Yeah.
I thought he played pretty well. I mean, the second goal was from long distance. Probably should have made the stop. But of the three teams, the team we expected to lose was probably the team that gave you the best effort.
Yeah. I think I said it earlier. I don't know who's more poorly coached. It's either the Eagles or the Phillies right now.
One of the worst weeks of Philadelphia sports in a long time.
It stank.
Awful.
Stunk.
It's one of those.
We're back, baby.
It's one of those weeks that makes you question like why we like sports.
This,
like why can't we be the guy that goes to the party and is like, oh, I don't watch sports. I'm into the stock market.
I read books.
Yeah, like I read. I'm really into the
Ken Burns documentaries.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're awesome.
They are actually really good.
They are good. I mean, the guy's talented, but like you wish that you were that guy, that annoying, obnoxious guy at the party who wants his entire persona to be the guy that doesn't watch sports because
sports ball.
This feeling sucks. I'm trying very hard not to curse, but it's difficult after what we watched.
You've done a good job. It's absolutely like walking over here after that game ended. That was hard.
There were between...
How many more minutes of this we got left?
We got like 15. We still got another ad read, so it's really like 12, which is good. There were the time it takes from the walk that we did our watch along to this studio. I don't know. It takes what, 15, 20 seconds to get here? Maybe. The amount of F-bombs that were flown about by the four of us, I have never seen Andrew Frazier that hot before. He came in spewing venom, and rightfully so. I don't give you any. I don't have any reason to tell you otherwise, right? Harper, Turner, Schwarber, 1 for 14. Harper, Turner, Schwarber, with the exception of Game 3, 3 for 35.
Well, and it's also
4 for 35. Still,
it's also the way they lost, because it just feels like that's the most Philadelphia way to lose. Like, Kettering makes the right pitch, and then he basically fails to recognize a little league play. That is the epitome of being a Philadelphia sports fan. I need to remind myself that, like, 9 months ago they won the Super Bowl. Like, I really do need to remind myself, like, it's not all doom and gloom.
That was cool.
We have had good moments, but I was sitting here waiting for the stream to start, and I thought, like, thank God I experienced 08, because if I didn't, I would be heading straight to a liquor store.
So it's hard to calibrate in the moment. Where does this one compare, let's say, to 2011?
2011 hurt me more, because that team, I firmly believe, was the best team in baseball.
I completely agree. I think the 2011 team would have dummied the 2008 team. You were facing Chris Carpenter on 3 days rest. That team was so loaded. Whereas this team, like, I thought the Phillies were so much better than the Cardinals. And this particular series, I really thought it could go either way. Now, I didn't think that it would go either way in the sense of, like, the Dodgers would seemingly have most of these games in hand the way they did. I thought it would be more competitive from the Phillies' bat standpoint. But 2011, I mean, that gutted me, and I would have been in a bad place had I not had 2008.
Yeah, I think this run, like this 5-year window now, if you said to me rank them from most painful to least painful, I don't think I'll ever. I firmly believe I don't think I'll ever get over 2023. Like, losing to a 84 win wildcard team in a series where you're up 2-0 and 3-2. Would they have beaten Texas? I think they probably would have, but getting there for a second straight year might soften the blow of the next 2 seasons. But 2023, I think, was the year. That was the year to have gone on and won the World Series. The next one to me probably is 2024, because of it may be this one. Honestly, it's either this or 2024, because last year felt. Even if you were wearing the rose-colored glasses, it probably, looking back, was inevitable. They were losing
to the Dodgers.
They were cooked.
Yeah, and they were. They were leaking oil.
No, but if they got through the Mets,
they were going to lose to the Dodgers. Yes, the Dodgers were going to beat them. But I think getting to the CS for what would have been a 3rd straight year at least keeps you on an even plane. So I would probably go 23, 24, or 25, the other, and then 22 was like, I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, granted, you get there and you're up 2-1. It hurts to lose the series.
Yeah, you get no hit at home.
But you look back on it, and I think we can objectively agree that Astros team was a unit and was much better than the Phillies. And the Phillies were playing some good ball. They ran into the better team. But I think in this window now, this one probably fits somewhere in between 23 and 22.
Well, and it's also the fact of, like, look, the way that this whole playoff run has started out, you go to the World Series, then you lose in the NLCS in devastating fashion. And then you lose in the NLDS in a non-competitive series. And then this series felt a little non-competitive. And it's like, okay, for me, like, Sixers apathy is setting in, where the regular season no longer matters. And unfortunately for the Phillies, the regular season, it's 162 games. So I think that's the danger that the Phillies are now falling in, where fans are going to go like, yeah, okay, like, wake me up when you get out of the NLDS again. Because at this point, they have stagnated. They look like a very, 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 very poorly managed, ill-prepared team for 3 straight series now. And it just seems like the Diamondbacks completely broke this team, and they broke the core. And I don't know what needs to change other than the manager, really, but something definitely needs to change, because the way that it's trending is just like, okay, great, we're going to be the team that gets in, and we have like 95 wins, and that's awesome. And then it falls flat.
It's the accumulation. It's the fact that in 22, I mean, let's look at these 4 years, right? I think the Phillies lost to 2 World Series caliber teams. That's the Astros, who actually were the World Series champions that year, and the Dodgers this year. That is a World Series caliber team. But it's the accumulation that is the most bothersome. And who knows? Maybe the Dodgers, they don't win, but I think they have a very good chance to win these next 2 rounds. Yeah, it's 2023, right? And that's why I asked the 2011 question, because even though Doc had not experienced that World Series championship, even though Cliff had not experienced that World Series championship, at least the core of that team, Jimmy, Ryan, Chase, they did have that one banked. That was a tough one to take. This team is getting further and further away from a World Series, and they don't have anything to show for it.
That's what always pissed me off about, like, there'd be people that would be like, oh, well, that run, the 08, the 07 to 2011, that was a failure. They only got one. I'm like, we only got one.
Winning a championship's hard.
We don't exactly have a trophy case full of like Boston memorabilia.
This is the losingest franchise in the history of sports.
Yeah, like, what, that's a failure to you?
Yeah, there was a guy in the chat who was like, 2011, get over it. I was like, man, will you look at what our franchise was like from like 2011 to 2021? Like that whole decade was bad,
rough,
man.
Yeah, I mean, I watched Aaron Harang.
Not the Dodgers every year where we're good.
Chad Billingsley,
the ghost
Jeremy
of Grady
Hellickson started 2 opening days.
Yeah.
They brought in Kevin Correa. They were just bringing dudes in to see who could pitch.
Correa. I'm pretty good with that recollection, but I forgot about Kevin Correa.
Yeah,
it wasn't good.
If you told me those teams lost 120 games, I'd be like, yeah, that probably makes sense.
Not only that, they didn't draft well.
Yeah,
it was on top of it. Like, you can suck. That's
Cornelius
fine.
Randolph, Larry Green. Yeah, we're going down a bad rabbit hole now.
The reason they were bad, a big reason they were bad for that whole decade was they drafted very poorly. Well, they're doing a better job of that now.
Aaron Altair is going to break out next year. You just have to give him time.
The one year they have the #1 overall pick,
it's a horrible year.
Bad draft. And Mickey Moniak has made himself a nice little player in Colorado, but like it's taken a decade to do it.
I had the Mickey Moniak jersey on.
I had to switch it up.
Or die.
I had to switch it up. And the embarrassing thing about the Mickey Moniak jersey was I got it at the ballpark 2 days before he got traded. And I knew he was going to get traded. Like, it was very evident to anybody that could like formulate a thought about baseball. You're like, they don't have a reason for him. They'll trade him to some organization. But it was on sale. And I went like, I need this. I need this for the collection. And I decided to change it up. Went Mickey Moniak. Didn't work at all. But yeah, I mean, they take Mickey Moniak first overall, really to save money for their 2nd round pick in Kevin Gowdy. Who never got above, I think, A-ball. Who they ended up trading him and Spencer Howard and getting Ian Kennedy and who was the pitcher that they had? The starting pitcher that was okay. He was decent.
Jared Eichhoff?
No, they got him from Texas and then he went to the Baltimore and it doesn't matter. He was fine, but they ended up like turning it into something. But
0 starts they got on Matt Harrison.
Yeah, it's just bad. It's
all
been
right,
rough.
Let's pause. Enough commiserating here. On the other side, we still have to get into our built to last segment, I guess. And then we'll kind of wrap this thing up. It's the PHLY Phillies post-game show. Tyler Zulli, Rich Hoffman, Pat Egan, Andrew Frazier producing today's show. We'll be right back after this.
Guys, we're talking about a lot of Philadelphia sports misery, but do you remember when Brandon Graham strip-sacked the GOAT for the first Philly Super Bowl ever? Not winning the Super Bowl this year. Well, now BG is bringing us his Crooked T Strip Sack Pack so we can savor the flavor. What is the Strip Sack Pack? Well, it's big, it's heavy, and it's juicy. It is the kind of pack that you want to show off. You already know, as BG says, you already know. Crooked T is 0 sugar and all flavor, and the Strip Sack Pack is stuffed with 24 cans and collectible trading cards by Jordan Spector. Some cards are even signed by the man himself. Every case is packing heat. So, from the fridge to the tailgate, this is one sack you're going to be proud to display. So grab yours today at a store near you or on GoPuff. And for our guy BG, we have to shout out the Philly area bars carrying Crooked T. Thank you for showing the love that Sport and Social Allentown, Garage Fishtown, City Tap in Logan Square, and Wicked Wolf on Chestnut Street. Go check them out for the game day or a night out and tell them that PHLY Sports sent you.
All right, when the weather's turning chilly, which is starting to happen very soon, the last thing you need is a home project pileup. And that's where Ace Hardware Home Services comes in by bringing you the trusted local pros right to your front door to help you get your home ready for the colder months. Don't get left out in the cold with a heater that's less than stellar, knowing that December and January and February are not too far away. From heating tune-ups and plumbing fixes to generators and emergency repairs, their experts handle it all. There's no guesswork. There's no stress. You don't have to try to be a hero and fix it yourself. Just local pros to get the job done right. And satisfaction, it's guaranteed. Find the help you need for your next home project at acehardwarehomeservices.com. All All right, welcome back to the PHLY Phillies podcast. We got a couple minutes left, and guys, we have to get into our Built to Last segment for the final time, brought to you by our friends over at Ace Hardware and Ace Hardware Home Services. Again, presented by the most trusted partner in home preservation. That's Ace Hardware Home Services. From heating and cooling to plumbing and electric, they've got the pros to make sure your home's ready for the final stretch of the year. Well, the season is over for the Phils, and therefore we turn our attention to the people that will definitively still be here next year, and the people that are built to last.
The chat.
That's the chat. That's the fans. That's everybody who stuck this thing out. Because I know you'll be back next year. I don't know who's going to be back in terms of the roster or the coaching staff and what the future holds for this team. But I want to give a shout out to everybody who's been here for long stretches of time throughout this season. And since PHLY has kicked off, this one is for you, this Built to Last segment. We appreciate you. We love you. And, I got to give you credit for coming back every single year. And taking more of this
Abuse. It's
terrible.
It's called abuse. It's mental abuse is what it is. Mentally, I am fried.
Yeah.
I'm not mentally well right now.
It's the type of night that makes you not want to watch sports ever again. But guess what? The
We'll be
fans
back.
are going to be back. We're
I'll
going to
be
be
back.
back here. Yeah, we'll be back.
I got to do a podcast tomorrow. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know what I'm going to talk
I'm doing
about.
it with you.
No, I got to do a Phillies one too.
Oh, God. Yeah. Well,
I mean, luckily,
You and I will have fun.
Wait. I said, luckily, the Eagles are, they're getting hammered by the Giants.
Mhm.
So that's our Built to Last segment. It's brief. There's not a whole lot of good to go around with the Phillies tonight with the team and the coaching staff, but I want to give a shout out to our friends in the chat and who have been with us the whole time. So
Dodgers fans weren't even that mean to us tonight.
no, they were.
I don't
pretty
think they
much-
know how to be.
There was a lot. I saw a lot of GGs.
Yeah,
Which for those not cool,
Good
that
game.
means good game.
Good effort.
Hashtag classy. There was some.
Yeah, I just don't think they have it in them to be mean, honestly. Like,
Bob, appreciate you. Thank you for being here.
I think there's a few of them, but I think most of the people that are probably trolling aren't actually Dodgers fans. They're fans of other
I've seen a lot of
organizations.
Mets fans in the chat
That's my
over
point.
the last
Like, yeah.
10 minutes or so.
And look, I get it. Like, I enjoy watching Mets and their fans.
I enjoyed their downfall immensely.
So I understand it, on the flip side, but yeah, whatever.
All right, so last thing we're going to get into very briefly tonight, the decision of Orion Kettering to go home. Guys,
We're ending on this?
it's the last, it's the last play.
It's fitting because after this, we're gonna go home. He decided to go home.
All right.
It
It's the
makes
last play.
sense.
Okay.
It
It's the
does.
last
It
thing that got
tracks.
remembered. He decides to throw home on that play. He stumbles a little bit. The broken bat was a good pitch. Breaks the bat. I think everybody on the field, everybody in the watch party was like, go to first. JT, you can see the still shot of JT like pointing down the first base line. He wasn't even ready to receive the throw.
Throw it to me.
He's like, dude, what are you doing?
Don't throw it to me. I'm telling you, go to first.
I got to be honest with you. I'm still scratching my head at that decision. Again, of the things that happened tonight, priority number 10, 11, but it happened. And it's the lasting image of this season will be
We would have
that
seen
fumble.
Blake
play.
trying it in the next series if he would have thrown it to first.
It's the
Or in the next. sorry.
per Jason Stark. It's the first walk-off series-ending error ever.
Really?
Yeah. So you witness history at least.
That's fun. That's good times.
Yeah. It was
Oh,
awesome.
Wolf. What's up, my friend?
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
But we're having a rough night. This whole
finally do it.
outstanding, whatever we called it, ultimate nonsense. This has been a disastrous evening for everybody. But well, for the PHLY Phillies, PHLY Eagles podcast, check the post game show out coming in just a little bit. All right, guys, let's wrap it up. To Andrew Frazier, cheers to you, my friend. Let's wrap this thing up. I'm gonna get sappy for a second because this was a long season. I'm not gonna lie to you. I got tasked to host this show back in February. It was a lot of fun. We did it from on Mondays and Fridays in the beginning. People liked it enough where we decided to go to Wednesdays. We did 3 a week. We did some post-game shows. We did some watch-alongs. We had a lot of fun along the way. The season did not end the way that any of us expected or hoped. If we were looking at how the end of August and into September played out. Rich, you and I did the trade deadline show. We were uninspired by Harrison Bader. He told us to shove it.
If you would have told us at the trade deadline show that we would have been here after the first week in October and said, man, if only they had Harrison Bader healthy for the series.
He was excellent. But I want to send a big shout out to you guys for being a part of our trade deadline special, our post-game, our pre-game shows. I know it was only 4 games. I wish we would have had the opportunity to do a couple more, but I am really grateful for you guys being a part of this. We commiserated together, and I want to say thank you to you both for being a part of this postseason run.
Thanks for having us, man. I wish we were talking for more than 4 days, but so it goes.
The next group, oh, Pat, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I got to look inward because the team was rolling. They were looking good with both of you guys doing this, and I show up and it's all ruined.
That didn't matter.
And it's one of those like, what changed? This changed. So
come on, man.
This will probably be my last appearance. And I'm doing it for the team.
We've got a long off season.
I appreciate the invite.
The next group I want to say thank you to is everybody in the chat, because without you guys, we don't do this show. Without our views, whether it's on YouTube or podcast platforms, I want to say thank you. It's almost 700 people watching this post game right now, and whether you are a Dodgers fan or a Phillies fan or the Mets and Braves fans that we've had, I want to say thank you for being a part of this season. We started on March 27th with Zach Wheeler and Mackenzie Gore battling the shadows, and we finished on October 9th with Tyler Glasnow and Christopher Sanchez battling the shadows, which do exist, by the way. But to everybody who's been with us since March, I want to say thank you so much for being a part of the chat. Whether you were here 1 time, 10 times, every time, I love you and I appreciate you, and I can't thank you enough. The last person that deserves a lot of credit for this season and how this show operated is the man behind the camera today, the man behind the computer. That's Andrew Frazier. Andrew's tasked with a lot of things at PHLY. He has a very difficult show to produce every day on the onset. It's a 2-hour show. It's graphics intensive. It's guest intensive. And he does it with a lot of hard work and class. And then he comes running in at 11:30 and says, what can I do to get the Phillies show underway? And I tell you, Andrew, please relax for a half an hour. But I will say this, without Andrew Frazier, my producer, my co-host, this show would have been half of what it was, if not worse. And I can't thank you enough, Andrew, for not just the work you've done on this show, but the work you do at PHLY. You are greatly appreciated by everybody at this table. And I want to say thank you to you for being a part of the ride for this season.
He's a Christopher Sanchez of the show.
He is. He's the glue guy.
Yeah.
He's more. He's glue more.
No, he's more than the glue guy. The glue guy is Garrett Stubbs. He's Sanchez.
He's the ace.
Yeah.
But Andrew, thank you for being a part of this show all season long. To everybody,
thank you. Seriously,
I had a lot of fun with you.
Working with you, doing this show. As crazy as it been. I can't speak right now because my mind is just all over the place.
Sorry, you had a stroke.
Yeah, I had a little stroke because I'm just thinking about this game. But seriously, Tyler, you have been an amazing host. Working together,
it's been fun
these last couple of months doing this show. I couldn't ask for any better host than you. You make things very simple and easy. You're on top of everything, and I really appreciate that. So thank you so much.
Well, to everybody in the chat, thanks for being here. If you wouldn't mind, whether you are here for one time or coming back tomorrow for the post-mortem podcast, hit the like button and the subscription button on the way out. We cracked the 50,000 mark recently. We can't wait for our next 50,000, and it's a big part and in thanks to you. So for all these guys at the panel, for Andrew for producing today's show, for Ethan Hartley, for Julia Hoff, for Jamie Lynch, and everybody that's been a part of this show along the way, I'm Tyler Zulli saying thank you so much for being with us every step of the way. We'll be back tomorrow, and we'll figure out what we're going to do in the offseason. We'll talk coaching decisions and return and free agency and what's going to happen heading into the 2026 offseason, because it begins right now. Thanks so much for being a part of this, and we'll talk to you in the offseason here on the PHLY Phillies podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.